Well, there's a bunch of birds in a dog fight up here. But this is probably the coolest and quietest place that I've got to make a movie. Now, I want to dispel some ideas that people may develop from the last couple of movies, that I didn't say anything that would cause them to develop those ideas, but since people are idiots, they develop ideas. That's what they do. So, and my job as the author of this book is to dispel those ideas. So, number one, there's nothing that I said that would indicate that affirmations don't work or that people shouldn't do them. Okay, that's number one. And two, there's nothing that I've said in this movie so far that would indicate that this is the only way to cure things. Quite the contrary. A lot of the things that we do to cure things are taught elsewhere. Some things aren't, and some things are. So I will have to leave it up to you to judge what's best for you, which is the next thing. See, I am not saying that this is the best thing for you. The word best is not part of my vocabulary. Or as my Jewish mother might have said, you should, eat. You'll be healthy. She was not that kind of Jew, she didn't do the gestures and everything. That's just something I picked up from watching TV where Jewish people were being made fun of. By other Jews, usually. And who are the most prejudiced against Jews on the face of the earth? Jews. Anyway, that being said, I'm going to talk to you about curing things now directly, and I will continue using my friend as an example, who I talked about in the last movie, who is teaching affirmations and yoga to elderly women, for the most part. Because she is a master healer. And I'm going to tell you a story about how she cured something in me that I was having a lot of trouble with and didn't believe I could cure. And of course, this was a long time ago, and if something horrible came up now, I'd probably, be looking to cure it myself. So the thing I had was ankylosing spondylitis. And at the time, I didn't know how I got it or why it happened. But I had attacks, very serious attacks. And, it's a neurological disease. And one of the attacks that I had, I got when I was on Maui. And it started on my neck and shoulders, just this redness, burning, and itching. spread over my whole body, went inside my mouth and nose and so on, and down my throat, and all through my intestines. I was writhing on the floor in agony. Then it passed. That's what happened. It passed. I was up all night. Didn't eat dinner. And I didn't know what brought it on. I didn't know much about it, but I knew it happened sometimes. And what I used to do to get rid of it, was take a liquid CalMag. And it worked. Got rid of it in 5 minutes. My whole body changed when I took this stuff. And so one night, my friend had been visiting out at my house in Philadelphia, and we were driving home. By the way, this healing that she did was a seminal experience in my learning. And I have learned a lot from this woman. And the reason I'm using her to exemplify all these things is just to illustrate how good somebody can be at this and still be basically unwilling to teach it to people, which you can't really blame her in a way, because it's a good way to get yourself rejected and for people to not want to come to your yoga class because they think you're crazy or anti-affirmations or whatever, So, there's nothing wrong with just staying out of it, except that she is one of the resources of this world, and she's an unused resource. Nothing I can do about it. But anyway, so this was in the dead of winter. She was visiting me. She came up on the train from Central Philly. We had a train station in the park. We lived in a park. We had a mansion, an old mansion. There are mansions in parks in Philadelphia. Some of them were built. There are some, I think, that were built in the 1600s. But ours was built in the early 1900s. Anyway, okay, so we were driving home, and I was driving. The roads had ice on them. You had to be very careful. And all of a sudden, I started getting an attack. And I was thinking, if this comes on, I'm not going to be able to drive home with this. I might be able to get her home, but I won't be able to drive home. And I didn't have any CalMag in the car, so I couldn't I had it in the house, but that was back there. We were like halfway to her place. And I said, I'm going to have to turn around. I told her, I'm going to have to turn around and go back. It's just too dangerous for me to have this come on and try to drive home with it. And she said, no, don't do that. She said, let me check you first. Maybe I can help you. And so and what she had to do to help me with this, which is what you have to do to cure something, she had to actually project her awareness into my physical body and also my other bodies that are not physical. People have 12 bodies. I mean, I haven't brought this up during this book because, There was a woman who tried to do that. You know, she decided to go to the local, what was it, a farmer's market, and she took herself a booth, and she wasn't a farmer and didn't have anything to sell, except she wanted to give away this free thing, this ability to cure things. And she put up a big poster board with the list of the 12 bodies on it. And then she put up a big poster board, another one with the list of all the pathologies, which you can find on the hub. There are 2 lists on the hub of those things. That's where she got them. And she sat there and said free lessons, Nobody stopped and had a lesson with her. I mean, maybe she was just not a very attractive person or something. I don't know, but this is a non-starter, okay? The stuff I'm telling you, like, you notice I put it at near the end of the book. It's not at the end, but it's, you've certainly listened to possibly as much as 2/3 of the book, certainly more than half, before I ever mentioned this. But anyway, this is what she had to do. It wasn't enough just to say, okay, is there any of this in my spiral body? But what she tested for me, she was testing through the pathologies to see what was causing it, and she got that it was a virus, which it's possible that it can be. I never thought to test for that. Maybe why I didn't cure it myself. But anyway, she found it in my other bodies, whatever they are. Don't have to go into that. If you're interested, you can join the web college, look at the lists and test through them and do all that good stuff. Now you know how to test because you got a finger signal, probably. How could somebody read this book all the way to this point and not get a finger signal, right? So I can safely assume that you're getting finger signals. And she removed it, the virus that she found, and it went away. It went away. Now, that being said, there's a lot more to curing things than this. For example, it is totally possible that it was simply her intention to take out the cause of this, coupled with going into my other bodies that, caused me, because we always cure ourselves, and also caused God, because it's always God that's curing us, to cure this. And I will say that I was open to her curing it. I didn't turn around and go back to the house. I kept going. I had that much confidence in her, you see. And I was right, because she was the catalyst that caused me and God to cure that. It never came back. I have never had another one of those incidents. Never. Possibly because if it ever does try to come back, I just, on some pre-conscious level, I just focus on it and cure it. So she removed a scourge from my life. I should call her and ask her to work on arthritis with me. I don't have a lot of arthritis. Maybe that's why I've been, just letting it drift, but I really ought to address it. Especially because those things are good practice. This is something that every time we practice this, we connect with God on a deeper level. So it's definitely worth practicing, even if you don't cure anything, which you always do. It may just not be the thing you wanted to cure. When you do this, you always cure some things. But a lot of times people get very bent out of shape with it because they're not curing the thing that they want to cure, or at least think they want to cure. But you have to remember, if you're not curing it, you don't want to. You're going to have to reconfigure what you want. That has to happen first.